Has it been a minute? It has for me. I don't know. On YouTube, time's a flat circle, so probably it's just been 1 week since I last had a video, but it's been a while since I've actually worked on this car. Why? Because I need to pull out this trunk area. And I've never done this before. I'm just kind of guessing. It's all theoretical. Book smarts meet street smarts. Where does that fall? But today I'm finally going to do it. And then part of it, I'm not going to take all the blame for being lazy and watching TV instead of working on this, because it's been raining. I'm doing this in my yard, and it gets muddy, and I just don't want to make a big mess. I'm one of those people that's mess averse. Just like I don't like to touch my food, don't like to get muddy, dirty, whatever. Yeah, in the wrong hobby, if that's the case. But hey, now you do what you gotta do. So I'm gonna put this trunk and hopefully get it straight. Now there's a few issues, and let's talk about that. So this is the trunk in question. You see all this is kind of bowed out that way. You see a little crinkle here. You never like crinkles, but you know, you're gonna do what you gotta do. Kind of, you know, there's some stuff going on here. Like this whole thing was like kind of hit right in here, and it kicked it all out. Put that up, put this back. So I need to pull that out. Well, you know, there's not a lot to pull from. Let's go look at the rear of the car. If we can get down there. So you can see it hit right there. So you can see that side is kind of close to being right. This side is, yeah, it's a little messed up. And there's nothing to hook onto, to pull onto. I mean, you've got this lip, but it's so little of a lip that you can't really do anything with it. So what am I going to do? I'm going to drill a hole somewhere in here and pull it out. I'm going to use this thing here. And so this will bolt through the car, hook here, and pull this thing out. Now I need to look on the outside and inside to figure out the best place to put this hole, because I can't put it too low or else my plates won't fit. Pretty much all the damage is right here. So I want it as close right there. Maybe right here is a spot. I have to even look inside and outside and make sure that I'm not binding up with anything. So why this thing? Well, so you got this plate that's rounded. Why? Because if it was square, it would dig into your metal. It'd create little divots as it's pulling like this, a little more rounded. So you shouldn't get any divots in the metal. That's just a big old hook to hook my chain to. And this is just that nut would go right through this hole, so you know. That's what it is. I got that from somebody that did auto body repair. They got all kinds of like hooks and chains and things. And I was doing this, you know, backyard frame pulling machine style, because all I got is a tree and a chain, and that will work, block the wheels. So I'm thinking right in here, I need to look on the outside, make sure that's where I want to pull. Hopefully I can pull it out, and then I'll start to pull all this out, and pulling this out should straighten this out. Now I may need a mallet to massage some of this stuff a little bit to get it right where I want it. But I'm hoping that'll pull most of it out. And then two, when I'm pulling on this and it's under tension, hitting it with a hammer, I mean, this metal wants to go back to its original shape. Metal always wants to go back to its original shape. So the under tension and hitting it should help it get back to where it needs to be. So I may probably need to clean out the trunk. I mean, all my parts are here. Just so I can access this whole thing. You can see this spare tire. It's not straight. Like that thing should be, needs to rock that way. As you pull it out, it will rock that way. So I'm going to get the car, move it, get it in position, and see if we can get something going. Because I've been putting this off, but not only me, it's been raining. Let me need to check my hole, make sure it's in a good spot where nothing will bind up. Because you can see, I mean, this plate will fit here. You know, if I put it right there, that is a great spot. Can't really go that much lower. And that's a nice, somewhat flat spot. So that might be the spot. I mean, I could go a little bit more this way, but again, it gets a little crinkly. And this will not be perfect. I can't get it perfect. I mean, I can get it close. But I think with the impact, it's going to be a little tough. But if I can get it close enough, I'm good enough with that. I mean, this car, it doesn't affect the drivability of the car. It doesn't affect the handling of the car. Luckily, it's just localized here. It won't affect the looks of the car. I mean, the bumper, the impact went right under the rear bumper. Ports, brackets, all that stuff. So it's really just, I like that spare tire to fit flat. And that's it, man. So let's get this thing rocking and rolling. So trying to figure out where do I need to drill my hole. You know, I saw this flat spot down here, but I was looking at it, you look at it, that'd be this flat spot right in here. Well, I think this should be the edge. I think this whole thing should come out to right here. So I think this is my bottom edge that should come out, and that is actually the bottom. Like, you look at that screw probably is flat like that. So that's why you look at this, make sure you know what you're doing. So I drilled right there and pulled it out. We pulled out the wrong thing. So I'm thinking I want to be maybe right in this corner. I mean, it hit hard in this corner right in here, so I think right there. That way I'm kind of close to the bottom edge. Pull that out and get all that out. So I think that's my spot. You know, so I see that indentation right there. Look on the inside. There's that indentation. So I think I want to be right in here, kind of close to the bottom. I'm wondering if that was kind of the 90-degree angle right at the bottom right here, and that's why that split. That's where the two pieces of metal came together. You can see what it is. It's not that this ripped the metal. These were two panels, panel bonded, seam sealed together. That's what's going on there. Kind of like this. So that's just two pieces of metal. They're probably seam sealed together. So that's it. That's what we're gonna do. I think this is our target right there. Drill through right there. See if we can yank this thing out. I mean, you just see. How do you know where it was impacted? Well, look, you see, that's the biggest dent right there. So that's the biggest point of impact. So that's where it was hit. So let's put me a drill right in there. I'm using a step bit. Why? Because that's the best bit for metal. I used to know specifically why, but it is the best bit for metal. I think like it reduces blowout or something. I don't remember. I do know it's the best one to use if you're drilling through metal. Use a step bit. Alright, so I've got my hook or my bracket, whatever. I don't know. Got that in place, got the chain hook to it. The only thing holding on is this nut, but it is fully seated, fully threaded. Or not fully seated, fully threaded. I've got my come on, got my tree, my frame machine tree. Everything is in place, hooked up. Got to block the tires. If you don't block the tires, both tires, car will just be pulled to the tree. So it's time to get this party started. So after a few pulls, this is definitely getting straighter. You can see how much farther in this is. This is not. So I'm gonna get a mallet and try to get this in, because I don't want to drill a bunch of holes in this thing. I want to drill as few holes as possible. So since this is close to being back in place, I mean, I think this lip is right, kind of falls, I believe. I think this is close. I'm gonna see if I can hit on the rest of this. So again, I don't want to drill more holes. I may have to, because like again, like this, how do you get that right? Hammer, I guess, maybe. I may see if I can like maybe hammer the bottom of this, because pushing this down may push this out. Because this thing is moving quite easily. You know, it's not meant to be super structural. It's not like a frame rail or bump or anything like that. So it is better. Now I just need to work the rest of it out. But you can see everything is starting to come back into place. It's a tricky little spot, because I need this to push out, and I don't have a really good spot to hook to. This is about the right spot, and let me see what I can do with all this. You got to use proper hearing protection, especially a mallet in that trunk, that small space. You don't want to go deaf. You don't want to get hearing loss. I don't want to get hearing loss. See, let it go too. Only look like my evil twin caused some trouble. Things are looking good. I mean, it's not great, but it's getting better, and I'm gonna keep working on it. But we're in a good spot here. It is going a little bit better than I hoped it would. So this is unfortunately the biggest mod I had. I had a sledgehammer. I think I must have borrowed that when I had it way back when. I mean, look at this. Look at that. That wrinkle. Look at that. That thing is out. This is getting flatter. This is looking a little straighter. Like I think it still needs to rock a little bit. Still got some business going on here, but I think mallet and hammer will fix some of that. We're looking good. I mean, still a little wavy here. You know, this kind of pulled out. I don't think I need to pull this anymore, because you look at that, I think this is starting to go too far that way. I think I need to hammer this a little bit, and see that's better. This needs to be hammered, but I'm going slow. If you were doing this, go slowly and just look overall. I see this needs to go in, so I'm gonna work on this next. This needs to go in. That's gonna be something. I don't know. I think if I maybe hammer on this a little bit, that might work some of this out. Like, look at that. That wrinkle is almost gone. I'm not doing fine work here. I mean, this is like hammering stuff, just beating on stuff, but it is looking better. This is looking better. I think maybe I need to hammer this, but I'm gonna wait on that. I mean, you can see, man, I'm destroying some wood blocks in here. But just looking at this, you can tell there's a little wrinkle in here. I might work that out. I mean, this is looking better. I don't quite know. I feel like this still might be a little high. Work on this, but you know, just pick a spot that looks wrong, work on it, take a step back, look at it again. That is all I'm doing. I'm getting rid of all of this, sound deadening. That's okay. But we are making progress. I'm gonna keep hammering on this, and all I'm doing, I'm just, like, let's say I want to hit here, I put my block there, and I'll wail on it with a hammer. I'll look at it, put the block back, wail on it with a hammer. I mean, it's not rocket science. It's just getting the job done. So update, I think this little angle piece, I think it should be flat. I think this should go down that way. I think this whole thing needs to come out. I don't know if I can just keep hammering on this to get this to go out and kind of pull that up, because I think I need to push it from the bottom. I don't really have any leeway to hang a mallet from the bottom. So I don't know. You know, I was thinking about maybe get a car jack and try to like jack it up from like right here. There's a tow hook right, kind of right in here, jack that up, but I don't know if that'll work. And maybe I just need to put the jack on and get a little bit of tension, and that'll help hammer this out. I'm gonna think about that, see if I can get it done. You can see, blue car hit me. So you see, it's always good to look at things from every angle. Like, you can see that little pinch weld, that should be the bottom corner. So that whole thing, like that whole part, that needs to flip up and this come out. That's what needs to happen now. I think I potentially put a jack on that tow hook, but not at this point. Because I think if I did it now, this thing would want to bow that way, the opposite way. I think I need to try to hammer this top part out, get it out a little bit more, and then once it's out far enough and starts to pull that angle, then it might kind of pop into place. That is my thought. That's what I'm operating on. I think I'm correct on that. I don't know, but I think so. That just seems right, because usually your pinch wheel is going to be the bottom corner. So I'm gonna hammer the top out, see if I can get going. Can you definitely tell, like right in there, that's in a little bit, so that needs to come out. Like, you know, if you were to pull this out, that pulls this out. I really don't want to put any more holes in this. I mean, it probably needs it, but I still want to put any more holes than I have to, so I'm gonna leave it at that, and we're gonna hope for the best. I'm still hammering away, getting there, you know, inch by inch, and that's okay. But look at this. So this is that corner. You see the seam sealer. This looks right. And look at this corner. You see this corner. This is all messed up. That should kind of be cornered that way. So I think that, to me, leads credence to this should be a corner and flatter. You can see a little wrinkled in there. Problem with stuff like this, you get crunch like that, it can be difficult to pull it back out, especially when there's nothing to bolt to screw to wrap around. I will try to work on that the best I can, but again, this is not structural, it's not aesthetic. It's just a matter of having the spare tire sit in there well. I'm going to keep hitting. I think if we can get this piece to go in that way, that'll slowly pull this out. I think eventually I may put maybe a jack with a block under it and try to push that up, but I just don't want to do that too early, because I'm afraid it's going to kick it out the opposite way I want. I think if I put a jack on now, it's going to kick out that way. I want it to go that way. I need to keep getting this in the right spot. I want to put the spare tire in here, just kind of see how things were shaking out. You can see we got a lot more space here. This bracket fits great. Like before, the whole thing was cocked this way. There's still a ways to go. Now, I mean, putting this in here, it's clear this needs to be more angled 90 degrees. I'm gonna see if I can do that. I'm gonna try and get it close. The spare tire does fit in here again. The bracket, the retainer fits in there well. Like, it's not cockeyed anymore. That's great. Still a ways to go, but we are making progress. And again, with something like this, it's inch by inch, man. Pulling out tangled sheet metal, not an easy task. I'm back on this thing. It's been a little bit with rain and life and just general not wanting to do this and not really, a little bit out of my element. You know, you do this thing once, you got to figure it out, it's done. This is my first time trying to do something like this, and so I'm taking it slow, trying to figure it out, and that's the issue. So let's see, where are we on this thing? Will I ever be done? As you might have noticed, I'm a bit of a slow worker. So I've got this bit of a bubble right here that I'm trying to get out. So here's my setup. You know, I've got the same setup that come along to the rear that pulled the spare tire well out. Well, I'm trying to get this bubble up. It kind of got a little to it. So I've got the strap to the bumper, to the jack, jacking up to try and pull, to push this up. You know, that's the resistance that's pushing that up. You can try and push this down. So I've put some pressure on this, and I'm kind of getting a hammer, trying to hit this part out this way to hopefully pull this ripple out, because this thing should be straighter. You see you got that little bubble? It should be straighter. And I'm trying to get that out. It's closer, it's getting better. Better might be all I can hope for, but we're getting there. So you see inside? Yeah, see this ripple, tough to get out with the way this was crunched and what happened. You see a little bit straighter here. It should be kind of like that. Like, this bubble needs to go down. Now I'm thinking at this point I might just try to hammer it out. It is better, it's getting better, but it's just not quite where it needs to be. Like, you can see that angle, see how that kind of comes in right in that corner, right where the seam sealer is? That's what should happen here, but it's not. This needs to be more, like, this should be the corner, it should be straighter, and just with the way this was hit, makes it tricky, makes it difficult. And I'm not training this, I'm just kind of figuring this out as I go along. This part's getting better. You see now, like, I've gotten it out this way, I've got it up a little bit more. Everything is fitting better, but I've still got this big bubble. I'm not sure what I can do with that. Well, that thing was loud, wasn't it? So I'd like to get this out a little bit. I don't know. I mean, it needs to be straight like that. We're gonna see. I'm gonna just hammer on it, kind of hammer this down. Got a little bit of tension on it. We put a little bit of tension on it. It makes hammering a little bit more effective. So let's see what happens. It is looking better. It's a lot of looking in the inside, looking the outside. I mean, yeah, you can see it's a little rough. Some of that paint peeling up. But overall, this thing is looking better. Like, this corner is way better than what it was. It's still got a little bit of a bubble here. And so you can see, like, look at that. You can see a little weld right there. That screw right there. Right there. You can see it's a little crooked. It needs to go this way. And so I'm trying to hit that dent out this way to kick this thing out straight. And that's my reference. But everything is looking way better. Again, I'm not sure I'm going to get it perfect. I was hoping I could. I don't know. I mean, I got a little ripple right in here. I'm trying to work out. I think this piece needs to come up, and that kind of needs to go down. I'm trying to get there, but I'm happy with what it is. I mean, if this were a structural piece to the car, I'd be doing this differently, or I would not have bought this car. But it's the spare tire well. Like, it doesn't affect anything. Like, the bumper brackets, the bumper is good. That's what's important. And just when this thing hit, it went right underneath the bumper. Because it hit the bumper is built to absorb that impact. And you replace the bumper, you replace the brackets. We're all good. This went right on the bumper, and unfortunately, a little bit to get out. But overall, it's looking great. And even like this belly pan, which I don't have because I didn't even realize I was missing, because I didn't know. Like this screw, I think I'll be able to straighten that out, either from the inside or maybe just taking the screw itself and tweaking it. But that's not going to affect bolting the belly pan on. I'm going to get the screw through. I'm going to put everything on. But we are getting there. This thing is looking better. I don't think I'm quite done. I don't know when I'll reach the done part. Because again, it's never quite going to be perfect. I'm going to want to keep messing with this until it's better and better and better, trying to get it right. We're getting better, so I'm going to keep going with it, keep hammering, keep trying to, because right now I've got like this stuff in here, a little wavy, this big bubble right in here. I mean, this corner's looking better. I think it should probably be a little more 90 degrees, but you know, I think I can only go so far with it. Like I think this has a little bit of a wave to it. This side definitely got some wave to it. I've got this little crunch in here that I need to work out. And I think that's gonna have to work out from the outside, if at all. I don't know how it's gonna work out. But this is a lap from one sheet metal to the other. That's the lap where they weld the pinch welds. I'm gonna straighten this out. I'm just waiting on that. No reason to, you know, you wanna start bigger and get smaller. So there's no reason to worry about some of this, and I'm still getting this stuff out because that might affect this. Work big to small, but we're getting there. It's looking better. I mean, the spare tire definitely will fit in there now, and will fit in there straight, which is beautiful, which is great. Once you put the carb and everything in, you would never know about this, even from the outside. Like if you were looking at this from the outside, there's belly pans there. You wouldn't even see this. The bumper covers all this. There's belly pans underneath. The only thing you might notice are those crooked bolts. I'm gonna fix that too. Like that bolt looks good. That bolt, a little off. That one's crazy. That one's crazy. But I'm gonna work on that. And it might be, I get a nut and just kind of ring them a little bit to get them in the right spot. But it's getting better. I mean, it won't be perfect. That's okay. This is a 10-year-old car. What, 13, 14-year-old car. Nobody's gonna care if this thing's been up, because from the outside, it's gonna look beautiful. We're looking way better. I mean, you look at that does not look bad. A little bit of wrinkling here. That I'm not trying to do much with. And I think what I've created now is, so see, I got a little wrinkle here. I think that's just from pulling this corner. Might have been better to pull the whole thing and put 2 bolts in there, and I can tension one side or another. I mean, it looks rough here. That's just some of this paint has peeled up. Like there's a bolt on the other side right there. And all my bolts look pretty straight. And if you don't know what you're looking for, those bolts look pretty straight, which is way different than when we started this thing. So we're good. I've been working on just this area because it pulled that out that way. That's a little bit back in. Got this little wrinkle here. I'm going to work on that. But to get some of these wrinkles, that's right by the bumper. I think I need to pull the rear bumper off and just see, because you got something going on here, something going on here, something going on right in here. See if I can straighten that out a little bit to get that better, because if I can straighten this out, then it's going to fix this. And there's a little wrinkle right in there. But I think I need to pull the rear bumper off just to get in here, try to straighten that out. I think once I get this straight, then I'll move to this, because I think this is going to hold up that. But all in all, you can see if you look at the brackets, this one is in a little bit, which is creating that wrinkle. So this needs to come out, which will straighten that back out, which should fix a lot of this. But all in all, I mean, the spare tire well is way better. I wasn't sure how much I could do with it. And, you know, I was a little concerned about creating a jack and the tension off the car, straighten this out, but it actually worked out better than I thought it might. I was concerned I might screw something up. I did not. So now I'm going to work on this corner. I mean, this corner, this side is pretty good. I don't know if it angles up or not, factory. I tend to think it does. I tend to think that might be the factory shape. Certainly kind of looks like it. It doesn't look crazy out of whack other than right in there. I mean, I got like a little wrinkle there. I might try to work out. Because I had a little bulge right there that I've worked on. And it's one of those things, you look at it, you work on it, you look at it, you work at it. But this was just so crunched. What am I trying to do with it? But all in all, I mean, that is not bad considered where I started. And yeah, this is a perfect example of why cars been in an accident, have a bad day when they get repaired. I've put a ton of time into this to get this looking pretty close to factory. You know, if all this paint wasn't chipped, this side would look factory. That side, not so much. But I put a ton of time in this, and when you're doing this for profit, time is money. If the parts don't show, hey, you can save yourself $50, $100, $150. So I get why it's done that way. I don't do it that way. You know, is this like, would I like that to be better? Sure. And I might try to work on that, and you know, I've got a hammer and dolly. I might try to fill out a little bit. Ultimately, does it matter? No, it's diminishing returns. It's not a structural part of the car. If it were structural, I would not have bought this car because I don't have those skills yet. Gonna get them, not yet. So I got a few things to fix. I will need to seam seal some of this. I mean, some of these gaps, I'm gonna work on that and just seam seal the whole thing. Because again, I plan to drive this car. I want it right. I'm not gonna drive a car that's not right. That is, I mean, this is why right cars often have a bad reputation. Because some are apparently doing it for profit, think save a dime and not even replace a part or do something shoddy. Well, you know, a lot of times that's what people are gonna do. That's the way it goes. This came from the trunk latch. It's just below the latch. And it looks almost like a rubber stopper, but what's so weird about it is how soft this thing is. Like, look at that. It is completely soft. And because there's this black goo, all over the trunk latch. And it looks like this piece of everything, whatever it is, melted, and just look at that. And that's what is all over the trunk latch. I thought it was some kind of grease or something. I've been getting it all over me as I've been working on the trunk. And I'd seen that little rubber, what looked like a stopper, pulled it out, and it's complete goo. I don't quite get it. Let me show you the trunk latch, show you where it was. It's odd. So there's the trunk latch. You can kind of see, like, down right in here, there's some black, that's where it was. And I thought it was just like a rubber stopper, like this little rubber pad here, and that's a little, you know, thing, grommet thing, and it just somehow broken, fallen off, and this grease was greasing the latch. No, I think that rubber thing must have melted and gotten all over everything. It really seems like Hyundai just cheaped out on where that was, because rubber should not melt like that. I mean, I don't know what you'd be doing to get it to do that. But I think it was a rubber grommet, but it's just crappy, cheap rubber, and it completely melted and it's all over everything. So I'm going to clean that up, because I actually touched that working in the trunk, getting it all over the rim, getting it all over me, and it's nasty stuff. I mean, it doesn't just wash off. I've been getting acetone to get it off, because it's just that gummy and greasy, and it sticks to you. So I'm going to clean all that up. You can see it's on the latch a little bit too, but I think it's probably just a little rubber stomach that'd stop here and there, and I don't know, strange. I've never seen rubber like melt like that and be that gooey, but that's what's going on here.